other interesting business news, you have Bud Light stock saved by Bill Gates. Two very likable folks, and I'm sure this will stop the protest. Now, apparently this is from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So their trust actually purchased last fiscal quarter 1.7 million shares of Anheuser-Busch InBev, valued at about $95 million. So he's not buying a majority of the company, quite literally it's a fraction of it, but it's, because again, it's worth, what is it, 35 billion plus, but it is a good message if, depending on what you're looking into. So it looks like he also invested $939.87 million in the Heineken stock before the Bud Light controversy with Dylan Mulvaney. And in 2007, Gates made a $392 million purchase of Fesma, whose brewery was sold to Heineken in 2010. Which is funny because the guy who's allegedly all about helping humanity, doing the healthy things, buying up liquor companies. Well, I guess this is beer, not liquor. Though it's Bud Light, so it's basically lake water or pond water. It legally has alcohol in it. I know that much for sure. Now, it looks like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has an net asset worth of $70 billion. So don't get me wrong. It's not like they're going all in on this investment. It's definitely a minority of their total value. But I can't help but think this isn't a coincidence that they purchased this stock with all the controversy. Now, there's a lot of people wondering, Bill Gates, one of his biggest fears, and I would say irrational fears, world overpopulation. He is really obsessed with that idea. There's a lot of conspiracies. Well, I was going to say, nowadays, for now, we'll have to almost do maybe an asterisk, perhaps. It seems like more and more yesterday's conspiracy theories are today's reality, more or less, for better or worse. Now, he's very concerned about overpopulation. There's a lot of theories of, how can we curtail the human population? What is he going to put in these things? So there's a lot of speculation. Well, if you believe in certain political movements, some of them inherently remove your ability to have children. Maybe that's something Bill Gates likes. From his perspective on humanity, or perhaps disdain for humanity, that would help with his irrational fear of overpopulation. So a lot of people wondering, is this a message that Bill is saying that if you're a business and you're going to acquiesce to the ESG scores, you're going to push all these messages, even if you suffer fiscally, so you lose a couple $100 million in sales, your stock goes down, big Bill Gates will come and bail you out? That's not a completely irrational thought, some might say, including myself. And it'll be interesting because, again, I almost wonder, will this increase the boycott? Because, again, there's not an insignificant number of people who are not fans of Bill Gates. So I can't help but think, is this going to fuel the boycott? It's already going viral on social media. People are talking about it nonstop. And again, it's Bud Light, already something that it's probably perhaps the most successful boycott in history from a conservative perspective, as well as people in the middle who are starting to join the boycott as well. So I can't help but think this is just going to fuel the boycott. And again, stock does help. Don't get me wrong. It's going to help Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch InBev. I'm sure the CEO has metrics about how much the stock goes up and down, and they're pressuring him to get the stock price back up. But stock is not sales. So if you're boycotting Bud Light, double down, because now you have an extra reason to boycott them. And again, if their sales keep suffering, I can't help but think eventually the CEO will have to take on a modicum of responsibility, maybe retire, or what do they say in corporate America? They're taking time off to spend more time with their family, which is new speak for, they've done messed up, which is the 1984 reference of the hour. Yeah, I usually find a way. It's not a good thing because modern society, unfortunately, is becoming more and more of a dystopia hellhole like 1984. And I highly do not recommend, and I always discourage, do not make that drinking game because I reference that book way too much. But it's perhaps George Orwell's greatest masterpiece, and everyone should, I almost think it should be required to read it because there's so many parallels to modern society. But for now, I digress. Let me know in the comments, will this increase your incentive to boycott Bud Light? The easiest boycott ever, just move your hand 3 inches to the right or the left, and you can buy something infinitely better like a Yuengling, which is still family owned, oldest brewery in the United States. And that's a rare feat, as unfortunately many of these other companies have subsequently sold out, such as the Busch family, where they've sold Anheuser-Busch InBev, eventually, they sold Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, to the Belgians, and now it's Anheuser-Busch InBev. So I can't help but think this will actually just increase the boycott, but we shall see. Thank you everyone again for taking the time to tune in. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September. I know it's a tall order, but every click counts. Also, I especially appreciate you taking the time to like and comment. Feedback is always important. It helps the channel grow and develop. It even helps me improve everything from slowing down my speech to trying to be more concise with my speech and try to articulate so you can actually hear me a majority of the time. And my goal is to keep improving that skill set throughout the show. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.